I'm not exaggerating with the title. This is an honor I don't bestow upon things willy-nilly. I think most of you know that. For me to claim that something is the worst I've experienced in whatever category, that is an honor that is extraordinarily rare. It's like being knighted by the queen. To be the worst movie I've ever seen, you have to move mountains. Because I see so many bad movies. It is one of my favorite pastimes is watching bad films because I get a lot of enjoyment out of a really fun bad movie. And I see so many. And of every movie I've ever seen, Amazon Prime's War of the Worlds is the worst. It has now taken that crown, which was a crown worn by what I still believe to be one of the most bafflingly dog-shitty movies ever produced, called Let's Be Evil. It wore this crown for 9 years. It had a good run. It should be very proud of itself. But on August 4th, 2025 years after the death of Christ, we have now found the worst film that humanity has produced so far. I wrote down a lot, so we're going to really dive into the spaghetti and the meatballs here. Spoiler warning. Don't think you should care about spoilers, but they're there anyway. I really am not exaggerating with how unbelievably horrible this film is. And it's not even like it is objectively the worst thing film has ever been used for. Like, there have been worse productions, but this is an insult to the entire medium of making movies. It's not a movie. What you're watching is one big ad for Amazon. War of the Worlds is a property that's somewhat sentimental to me, and to see it bastardized and perverted into this homunculus that Amazon molded it into is nothing shy of criminal. If aliens truly did invade this planet and exterminate every single one of us, not even they could wipe the stain of this film's existence from the galactic tomes of time. This has been so catastrophically abominable that I think just the existence of this film has set our species back hundreds of years. It is unreal that this even got made. And I looked it up. Apparently this was made back in like the pandemic, so like in 2020, and they just squatted on it, kegling it in their colon for the last 5 years, and then just randomly decided to drop it now. I don't know why. It should have just stayed there. They should have buried it. This should have never seen the light of day. This is a tomb, a sarcophagus we should have never opened. So War of the Worlds, I'm being very literal, is an advertisement for Amazon. It's an affront to the entire art of making a movie. Anyway, let's go ahead and cannonball into the pool here. It stars Ice Cube, and the film tries to be creative by emulating what some films have in the past with something like Searching, where it's all presented through a computer display. So you're seeing Ice Cube and all of the events unfolding and all the characters through FaceTimes and emails and anything that's on his monitor. So you see Ice Cube through his webcam, and that's how you experience the movie. It was a clever gimmick when it was used in Searching. In here, it's just really annoying. And the movie actually feels like it's written by a 13-year-old who just learned how to code with C#. Like, it's all about hacking. Ice Cube is like an expert hacker in a DHS program that's spying on everyone through mass surveillance, and he can actually do anything. He is basically omniscient. He can hack every possible atom on this planet, and he can see every nook and cranny of this world through computers and drones and even just air itself, it seems like. There is nothing that escapes his gaze. And the film, what you'll notice right away, is it looks terrible, atrocious. And I don't mean that by just big budget standards. I mean by even like indie and student film standards. The visuals here are so bad. Look up any scene from this movie, probably even in the trailers. I haven't bothered to check the trailers. Lord help us. I can't imagine consuming more of War of the Worlds beyond what I've already consumed here from this. But like, look at any scene from this film, like when the aliens are present. It really does look like this was thrown together in one afternoon. It looks like previs. It looks like Sonic the Hedgehog before they redesigned him. Like, it is just hard to look at. Like, it's painful. It looks like PlayStation 1 cutscenes used to look. I cannot believe that they actually gave this the green light to be viewable by us. I feel dirty for watching it. It's so incomplete looking. I don't even know how you make movies look this bad in this day and age. Like, even just your stock assets that you can just freely use look so much cleaner than everything here. And the crazy thing is, it uses so much CGI. Almost the entire film after the aliens arrive is showing you aliens and destruction and CGI explosions, and there's even like a drone sequence laser fight, and it really does, I'm not like exaggerating, it really does look so bad. Like, it looks like they made the whole film for $10. Like, they just hired a couple of people from Fiverr and gave them a week to work on it. That was the deadline. I don't know how they could possibly achieve such bad visuals. And this is an Amazon Prime movie. What the fuck? They have actual infinite money. Unbelievable. This movie is like if Birdemic was an ad for Amazon. And I haven't even begun talking about the unhinged insanity that is the plot. And before even getting to that, it's important we make a mention, nobody in this movie is acting. Like, the acting is a word that must have been forbidden on set. All they are doing is reading plainly from their scripts with no acting except for Ice Cube occasionally doing the eye twitch. That's it. There is no acting in this movie. It feels like what AI would generate if you asked it to make, like, a War of the Worlds Amazon Prime ad. And, like, you wanted it to star Ice Cube. What the fuck are they doing? Like, this must have just been, like, a really easy paycheck. But they also just didn't even want to put in the bare minimum for it. Like, I feel like the talent here was kind of embarrassed to be working on it, so they didn't really want to give a ton of effort. That's how it comes across. So now, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about, like, the narrative. So, the movie starts with Ice Cube. He's in his lair. He's spying on everyone, which includes his son and his daughter and his daughter's boyfriend. His daughter is pregnant. Her name is Faith. And he's a real grumpy guy after the passing of his wife. And he sends her messages on Facebook. Of course, it's not reciprocated because she's dead. He listens to an old voicemail about, like, taking out the trash and being nice to the kids, which is an interesting thing to have to remind your husband to be nice to your children. Well, yeah, he is an unreasonable asshole to them. He even, like, calls his son... Well, actually, he hacks his son's computer so he can uninstall a video game from it. He just randomly hacks into his son's computer, saw that he was enjoying a video game, uninstalls it, and says, "You need to get a job, you loser. You fucking bum. You're a loser. You're a loser. We paid $200K for your education. You're a fucking loser. Get a job. Get a job." And then hangs up on him. He really just beats the message home that he hates video games and thinks video games are dumb. But anyway, he's got a task right now at work where he's trying to catch the Disruptor, a hacker who's threatening to release classified government documents through a YouTube video. So he posts a YouTube video. It says, "I will be releasing top secret documents about their Goliath program." And so now Ice Cube has to stop him from releasing those documents. So he tracks his IP through the YouTube video using his elite hacking tools, which again it's basically God mode. He is a server admin of life. Ice Cube he literally just types in words. So he types in, like, "Disruptor home address, please get," and it's like, calculating, IP gotten, here's exactly where Disruptor is. And he can do that for anything. He can type in anybody's name, literally anybody's name, and it somehow gets the exact person he wants it to be, even though obviously other people are going to share that name, but somehow it always hones in on the right person, and then gives him, like, the closest drone so he can spy on them, or the closest, like, CCTV camera to spy on them. Like, the technology it's like fucking Fantastic Four level almost, where you can, like, teleport and shit, basically. Like, they've reached quantum surveillance. So anyway, they've got Disruptor's IP. They then go and storm the IP there. But before that, of course, he needs to hack into his daughter's computer because he learns from her boyfriend that she's having a baby shower and he didn't get an invite, so it made him upset. So he hacks into his daughter's computer using TeamViewer, where he uses his tools to generate a master key to TeamViewer so he can log into anybody's account with the master key password. So now he's on his daughter's computer reading her messages, and he starts feeling bad because she's like, "My dad doesn't get it." And he's like, "Oh, man." as he's hacked into his daughter's shit. So now, anyway, we learn about Mark. That's her boyfriend. He's an Amazon Prime driver. He's an Amazon delivery driver who really likes Prime. And one of the lines that they reuse like 6 times is like his son Dave says, you know, I really think you're overdoing it, Dad. We don't need the government to be, you know, checking out what we put in our Amazon cart. Any opportunity to wiggle the word Amazon out of every character's mouth with a little positivity following it was taken in this film. So Mark really likes being an Amazon driver. Ice Cube gets a message from a NASA contact of his, and she's analyzing weird, wacky, freaky weather phenomena. And he doesn't really care. He doesn't want to watch that. He says, I spy on people, not clouds, or something. Anyway, they go to the Disruptor address. Turns out Disruptor was a step ahead of them. It was a decoy, one of his infamous decoys that he's become known for. But while they're there, the aliens crash land. A bunch of meteors start crashing, and they're blowing up buildings and cars, and people are freaking out, going crazy, because everyone's under attack. And they show you so many sequences of the carnage, and I am not exaggerating again. It looks so bad. Like, think about Sharknado, but unironically, like with no self-awareness, and used primarily to try and get you to buy Amazon Prime. It's like vomit-inducing how awful it is. Like in one of the clips, by the way, to showcase the acting prowess that people brought to the table here. In one of the clips, the news reporter is filming one of the meteors, the aliens, crashing into a school, and she goes, wow, this one just crashed into my kids' school. They're all dead. And she says that deadpan, super calmly. Her kid was at that school, is now dead along with all the other children, and that's her reaction to it. And then they cut to the next sequence of terror. It was so crazy. But anyway, now everyone's in a panic, so Ice Cube's getting called in by the government, the president, everyone, all the moving pieces, and they all do it through Zoom, a Zoom call, so that way we can watch it, because that's how we're experiencing this film. We're a computer screen, basically. So anything on there we see, and everyone is always FaceTiming and on Zoom, which is probably the least efficient way they could be communicating, but they're doing it for our pleasure, not efficiency. So they start working on the Planetary Alliance. That took 5 seconds. The whole world unites to form the Planetary Alliance, basically on that call. And they start trying to figure out what they do next. So the big thing is the Planetary Alliance decides, let's start fighting back. So they get the tanks out, they get the jets out, and they're taking the aliens down almost effortlessly. So Ice Cube is watching like a real-time sports tracker of victories versus defeats that is calculating every victory and every defeat across the globe, and we are slaughtering the aliens. Like, we are absolutely clapping their cheeks on our home turf. We got like 100-something victories to only like 40 losses, and Ice Cube's main thing that he does for this montage is he just goes, yeah! Damn right! Take your intergalactic asses home, was one of his lines. So he's basically just cheering them on. A lot of this movie is Ice Cube just like reacting to something. Like when the aliens are crashing and killing kids, he goes, damn, damn, damn. Like that's about all he does there. But now that we're winning, he's like, yeah. Anyway, though, during all the hubbub, his daughter gets injured when the aliens attack, and she gets a big boo-boo to her leg, and she's bleeding, and it's very intense. Ice Cube doesn't want to lose his daughter, so she's FaceTiming her dad and, you know, worrying that she's about to die. And Ice Cube's like, don't worry, I'm going to come get you. For the first time, he's actually about to, like, leave the office, but it turns out he's locked in. So he hacks it to let himself out, but then he's locked in at the lower levels, too. So then he gives up and immediately goes back to his chair. And then he's like, all right, don't worry, I've got another idea. So on FaceTime, he got her location, used the drones, saw that there was a Tesla nearby, hacked the Tesla, and then got her to get in the Tesla and drove her away with remote controlling the Tesla to get her to a hospital. But all the hospitals are full, so now he recruits Mark to go save his daughter, Faith. It's like the worst attempt at trying to get you emotionally invested because you just do not care. Because it really feels like Ice Cube does not care. There is no emotional weight to anything here. It is so stale and so flat. It almost felt like they were laughing while filming this. Like they knew how bad it was. So anyway, now his daughter's, she's in a pickle, but Mark's on the way and he works for Amazon, so he's basically a fucking superhero. And during this like ride, as he's like remote controlling her to safety, because she was about to just get killed by the alien, she gives him a lecture on how powerless he is. So he's like apologizing for being a bad dad, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, who ordered the Yappuccino? Jesus Christ, old man, you just don't get it. After mom died, you thought you could save her, and then you thought you could, like, save the whole world, and then you thought you could save anybody, but you can't. Get it through your thick skull, you can't save anyone, you are powerless, move on." And she drives that point home as he is literally saving her life. Without him, she would have died. He is literally saving her as she is giving this lecture. It's very hypocritical. I don't know what they thought they were cooking with that, because it didn't really match the scene. So anyway, he gets on the horn with the president because things are all cattywampus, and they're starting to fight back, and that's when he gives the title drop. He gives the name drop, title of the movie. He says, "All right, I see no other option other than to initiate the War of the Worlds," about the Planetary Alliance stepping up their counteroffensive against the aliens. Which I guess was like a really cool moment where you're supposed to pump your fist. Yeah, initiate the War of the Worlds. Dave then calls his pops. He lets old man Ice Cube know that he knows more than Ice Cube thinks he does. He's not just a video game playing dweeb. He knows why the aliens are here. They're after something called Goliath, which interestingly is what Disruptor kind of mentioned earlier. We'll get to that in a moment, but there might be a bit of a plot twist coming up if you can connect the very subtle dots. So Dave is talking about, like, "Dad, you need to trust me. There's something called Goliath and the aliens are here." But Ice Cube is like, "You're a fucking moron, son. Get it through your thick skull. I'm so disappointed in you. You're a gamer. You make me sick. Don't you ever call me again." And then hangs up on him. He just berates him again and then literally hangs up on him. As his daughter is, like, bleeding out and shit, like, he doesn't even care about the safety of Dave. He's just like, "Can you stop fucking calling me? Stop it, you play games, I don't want to hear from you." And Dave is trying to let him know, like, "Hey, look, there's something we could do here, like, I know what's going on." And then it turns out the aliens, as they're getting their shit pushed in by humanity's weapons, they change tactics and start targeting data centers, and they put their tentacles into data centers, and they start hyper downloading all of our data, which ends up draining all of our data, which shuts off the military. So they hit the power switch on the military, and then spontaneously every battleship, every plane, every helicopter falls out of the sky or blows up, and now we can't fight the aliens anymore aside from just small arms fire on the ground. Everything else is now shut down because they drained our data centers. And interestingly, it's like they forgot this plot point. I'm getting ahead of myself. But just know this was a crucial moment where they turned the tides. The aliens turned the tides on us by draining all of our sweet data. So the NASA lady was at one of the data centers when this happened, and she noticed these little bugs. Little bugs like to eat data. They consume it. They like data. And what happens is she connects the dots is that they're here for our data. They must eat our data, and they must like all this data we have on all of our citizens and all of the people across the globe. They want our data. And as they continue draining us, they make a mention that all money in the world is gone. Money has been erased. Oil tankers are blowing up. And we've been set back to the Stone Ages. Lights are turning off. The world's gone dark, in their words. It really feels like, I'm not kidding, it feels like this movie was written by a child. Like, everything happens like this, too. Like, the aliens come, and then we shot them with tanks, and they didn't like it. So what they did is they shut down the military. They turned off the military, and then they erased all of our money, and it disrupted the chain of command, and then all the lights turned off, but because of our data. It's so bad. It's so, like, bafflingly bad. I cannot believe a human being wrote this. Like a real sentient person. Like, this could have been written by an alien. Like, it might have been. I don't understand it. Also, Facebook is being deleted. This was a crucial moment. not only is all money being erased, but websites are being erased. Facebook is getting deleted, and Ice Cube is there on his wife's Facebook page taking one last look at it as messages are vanishing. He's listening to the audio message again, and then it does the classic cliche as it turns off. And then it vanishes, and then 404s. But it's not every website. YouTube actually still exists because that becomes a crucial plot device here towards the end of the film. But Facebook is gone. So Disruptor goes live on YouTube, and he mentions Goliath. Like, the aliens are here because of Project Goliath. The government knew Project Goliath would summon the aliens because they love data. The government knew that more data would mean aliens will full-scale invade us. And then the big reveal, Ice Cube figures out Disruptor is his son. Who could have seen that coming, huh? That's quality writing right there. It was really subtly planted, but they pulled it off. So his son then tries to convince him that the government is lying to him. The government is, not super trustworthy. And Ice Cube's like, get out of town! What are you talking about? You're fucking stupid. You're like a gamer and shit. I would never trust you. You're a criminal now, actually, too. This is stupid. No, there's no such thing as Goliath. They wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't lie to me. And his son is just like, look, Dad, listen, I'm going to send you Goliath. Just take a peek. And he's like, okay, buddy. But I already know there's nothing in here that's going to convince me. He even says that verbatim. There's nothing in these files that will convince me that what you did is right. And he opens the files, and the first line is about, like, the Roswell crash, I think it was. It was like an alien crash, and it said, like, weird weather phenomena, aliens, and data. In one sentence, he goes, oh my God, my son was right. The government's been lying to me this whole time. He read a sentence, one sentence, and immediately he's like, oh my God, he's absolutely right. And then, of course, he scrubs through the other alien pieces and then learns Project Goliath is a big data collection program, exactly like his son was saying. I don't know why he was so adamant about it being far-fetched conspiracy theory mumbo-jumbo, because his son was just telling him, like, Dad, Goliath is all about collecting our data on a bigger scale. Like, Goliath is, like, really big mass surveillance. And he's like, that's just not possible. I am the mass surveillance, and there's nothing more advanced than what I've got. Like, I don't know why that idea was so, like, incomprehensible to him, because he already has all of that basically at his fingertips. The only difference with Goliath is that it could also read people's thoughts, kind of, like it analyzed their thoughts better. So, like, it was only, like, one step forward where Ice Cube already was, and yet he's like, that's just a conspiracy. Nope, that wouldn't happen. The government wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. We don't do anything like that. They wouldn't do that. It was just so weird. I don't know why I'm harping on that so much. The whole movie fucking sucks. There are so many inconsistencies and so much wrong with it. But that in particular really stood out to me. Anyway, we then learn that Briggs, who is one of his contacts we've seen throughout the film sporadically, is actually the guy who spearheaded Project Goliath and was fully aware that by launching Project Goliath with this mass surveillance, the data collection was so grand in scale that it would summon aliens. Don't know how they knew that. There is no explanation for how they fucking knew that this level of data collection was what would be the beacon to bring all of the aliens to fucking spring break over here to eat it. I don't know how they analyzed that, but they knew that if they launched Project Goliath, it'd be a full-scale invasion. Even Briggs knew and just didn't care. He didn't give a fuck. He said, let them come. We'll beat them on our turf. Which we were until they sucked our data, which, of course, they knew was going to happen because they're drawn to data, yet they're all surprised when they go suck our fucking data. Like, they're on here on our cocks here, literally sucking the life out of our dicks with all this data, and they knew that, yet for some reason did nothing to stop that. Oh my God, it's so fucking dumb. Anyway, Ice Cube confronts him directly. He knows all about Goliath. Briggs says, all right, you're out of line, you're fired. Revokes his access to everything, all of his tools. He can no longer be the big-time hacker. Until 2 seconds later, his son Dave hacks the government and grants his dad full access to everything. And then they team up. And now they're both disruptors. So they come up with a plan to make a rabbit virus that will poison the data that the aliens are eating, thus poisoning and killing the aliens. But they can't do it alone, so Dave brings in his hacker friends, the disruptors, and we meet the other elite hackers, like Code Crusher and Starfire. I shit you not, those are two of their names in the hacker group. It's painful. It really is painful. So they get together. They work on the rabbit virus while they're making the rabbit virus, which, by the way, only takes 2 minutes. But within that 2-minute time span, Ice Cube decides he wants to make a YouTube video. So he hops in Adobe After Effects and he makes a YouTube exposed video on Briggs, releases it on YouTube, exposing Project Goliath and Briggs. And the entire world watched it instantly. He posted it. The whole world watched it. He posted it on the Disruptor YouTube channel. The whole world watched it, and now everyone knows why the aliens are here, and they now hate Briggs. So he got his revenge, and he revealed the truth to everyone about Project Goliath. And now the rabbit virus is done. Again, all of this basically happening instantaneously. So the rabbit virus gets uploaded, but it wasn't enough to stop the aliens. All it did was make them mad. So what they did is they hacked the hackers before the hackers could fully hack them. And then they use the IP addresses of the hackers in the Disruptor group, and they go blow up their houses. So we watch Starfire get blown up, and then, God rest his soul, even Code Crusher perishes under the might of the aliens and their fury. So they die. So now they need to come up with a new plan. Dave survives, by the way. Turns out he was actually bouncing his IP address from Ice Cube's house, but really he was at a dude named Brian's house. So after Ice Cube's house gets blown up and Ice Cube thinks his son died, all Ice Cube can do is this and go, damn. But then his son calls him. He's like, no, Dad, I'm actually fine. I was over at Brian's house. I just bounced my IP. So Ice Cube gets the family together for a FaceTime. Mark has gone and stopped the bleeding from Faith's injury, so they're together. They're fine. That whole side quest has been completed. And he gets the family together for a FaceTime call because the NASA lady has just informed them that the little bugs actually have DNA. They are organic cyber hybrid beings. So they can be killed, is the conclusion they reach. And they have a method. Turns out Faith, his daughter, was working on something called the Cannibal Code, which attacks 6 cells in a body. So they decide, let's rewrite the Cannibal Code to attack their cells and kill the aliens, since they're organic too. So they do that immediately. They literally rewrite this code instantly. And it's perfect coding. But there's another problem that arises because the government's decided to bomb the Goliath building, which is the building Ice Cube is in. It was actually underneath his feet the whole time because the government now knows it's going for Goliath. All the aliens are converging on that building to suck Goliath dry of all that precious data. But this is where things get weird. They have bombers bombing aerial vehicles that are about to do this. How? They've already established that none of their air vehicles or air units, any vehicles in the military, work anymore because the aliens sucked our data. But they have these bombers, and they also have drones that Ice Cube and family can access. Yet they had already made a point about how that's not possible because the aliens sucked our fucking data. But they totally forgot and just said, maybe people have already fallen asleep by this point and won't care. But I was awake the whole goddamn time watching this. They totally forgot that a plot point was they can't use these crafts. Because if they could, then it wouldn't matter about the data because they were beating the fuck out of the aliens using these vehicles. Using all of these aircrafts. So if they still have access to aircrafts, who cares if they go towards Goliath? Just blow them the fuck up. That was the whole reason, the whole point of trying to fight back with poisoned code is because we no longer have access to the military because of our sucked data. But now we have bombers that are going to go blow up Ice Cube. Just fucking blow up the aliens if we still have this ability. Oh my god, it actually made me upset. So, anyway, they rewrite the code, but Ice Cube has no way of taking that code and injecting it into Goliath downstairs because they don't allow thumb drives in the secured building. But, and this is where it gets so fucking shameless, but Mark has a thumb drive, and Mark works for Amazon. And you know what else Amazon has? Prime Air. So Mark gives a whole sales pitch about how Prime Air works and how he can give the thumb drive to the drone for Amazon Prime Air and fly it to him just like Amazon Prime does. And I'm not kidding, he gives a sales pitch. And then he takes the Amazon Prime drone and he flies the thumb drive over to Ice Cube. But not without some really intense dogfighting where the aliens are laser beaming at Mark flying the Amazon drone, but it's just too good. It's much more effective than all of the government planes, it seems, because they were just getting blown out of the sky with lasers at one point. Meanwhile, Mark, who is not a fighter pilot, he's something far stronger, an Amazon Prime drone delivery expert. He's dodging all their lasers, he's doing fucking barrel rolls, and then Dave is hacking nearby drones in order to blow up the aliens that are attacking Mark's drone. Again, how is he even able to access drones? That shit shouldn't be working in the first place, what you've already fucking established here. But anyway, Mark's made it to the building, but he hits something on the way in, and his drone flips over, and he can't flip it back. But luckily, they get to see that there is a man taking cover nearby through the camera of the drone. We get to see this. There's a man taking cover nearby, so Ice Cube instructs Faith to hack into the guy's phone and send him a text message asking him to flip over the drone. So she does. She hacks into his phone, sends the text message. The guy checks his phone. He says, "No way, are you kidding me? There's aliens here. I'm going to die if I do that." And then Mark says, bribe him with he didn't use the word bribe. Mark said, offer him $1,000 Amazon gift card. So she does. She sends him a text offering an Amazon Prime gift card for $1,000. And he instantly sprints over there. He reads it, sprints over, he flips the drone up for the bribed $1,000 Amazon gift card. So then Mark continues the mission. He delivers a thumb drive to Ice Cube. He makes it to the Goliath interface. And then as he's approaching the Goliath interface to plug it in, the tentacles are getting all up in his ass. And he's reaching heroically to plug in the cannibal code. And he does it. But then the feed cuts. But all the aliens start dropping like flies. They've done it. Cannibal code was a great success. The aliens are dead. Our data is still not safe. They still have all of our data, but the aliens are now gone, and they abort the bombing mission, so Ice Cube gets to survive. And then the bad guy, Briggs, gets arrested, and disruptors are now hailed as heroes across the globe. And then there's like a special mention about like how important privacy and data is. So like the government's calling on Ice Cube saying, "We thank you for your service. We'd like you to come up with a new surveillance system that takes privacy into account, because we think privacy is important now." And Ice Cube says, "No, that's not my style anymore. Now, instead of watching people, I'm going to be watching you." And that's the end. That is Amazon's War of the Worlds. There's a lot that I just omitted, by the way, because it is just so unbelievably uninteresting and just downright insulting to the entire act of making a film that I just didn't even put it into the notepad. There is literally nothing redeeming about this film. The only positive I could almost squeak out here is that it is enjoyably shitty. Like, I do think this would have been a lot of fun to watch with friends because there is so much to laugh at and make fun of. But watching it on my own, sometimes it actually just made me mad. Like, it is crazy how bad this movie is, because it is really just like an ad being shoved down your throat, but in the form of a movie. Like, I do actually think that this is probably the start of where we see advertising go, where they disguise movies as ads. Like, they've already made this huge push for AI-generated ads, like across the board. I keep seeing that pop up. I think they will also use AI to AI generate movies that are actually just ads as well. It is just incredibly bad. That's really about it. It is the worst movie I've seen. See ya.